Hi everybody, Bob here. Today I want to talk about high-performing teams. Again, this is the second video. In the first video we talked about the importance of culture and some of the aspects or some of the things that made for a good culture. Today I want to talk about operations, which is an equally, if not more important aspect of good teaming than culture. Like we discussed in the last video, we see team alignment as a combination of having clear and efficient operations as well as having a good culture, a culture where people can disagree, where people can also commit and work together and then pull together. This picture indicates that culture is often kind of the harder to see and more significant part of team functionality. But what's interesting about operations is it's often the thing that's easiest to act on, and good operations may have a very, very big impact on the culture, right? If I have good, clear, efficient operations, often the culture feels more free and more open and less frustrated, less blocked, let's just say. So when it comes to aligned teams, just as a quick reminder, one, we want to have a culture of high context relationships. We want to know each other as people. We want to respect each other as people. We want to deal with each other in generous and emotionally aware ways. And then we also want to have these clear and efficient operations and commit to getting continuously better at all times. So again, today I want to talk about operations. Excuse me. And we're going to walk through a process that we've created at the alignment company that we call team chartering. This is our version of it, by the way. There are a lot of different versions of it out there. And it centers on this canvas. I'm going to place a link so you can download a PDF of this canvas if you want to use it yourself. And right now I want to walk you through sort of how to use the canvas. So the canvas, we start with the base. We start at the bottom because we want to build a strong foundation. And the bottom is really these two elements. It's the vision and it's the mission. And what do we mean by vision and mission? Vision is really the future. It's aspirational. It's the future that we're trying to create for our customers and the rest of the world. Most businesses, most organizations, most nonprofits already have a vision in place. So this isn't anything that a team is going to wordsmith in any specific way. The mission, on the other hand, is how the team directly contributes to the vision of the organization, right? So a marketing team is going to contribute to the vision in a different way than a product development team, which is in a different way than a finance team, which is in a different way than a sales team, right? So each team kind of has their own aspect or their own mission, their own set of metrics that provide focus for their activity. And we find often clearly articulating the vision or the mission in a meaningful way with clear metrics is often a first step. Now, the reason this is at the foundation, or this is the bottom, is that when we're chartering teams, we're often chartering teams that report to other teams. In other words, we may be chartering a marketing team which is going to report to a senior leadership team. In that case, it's highly appropriate for the senior leadership team to provide at least the outline or the initial draft of the mission. We do want the team to spend some time with its mission and make sure it owns the mission, and we want the final version of this mission to be something of a conversation between a team which is maybe lower in the hierarchy and the team which is higher in the hierarchy. We find that the more participatory this is, the more people feel ownership of it, and generally sort of speaking, the happier they are. So start off with the vision, start off with the mission, get crisp, get clear. You don't have to wordsmith these things forever. You don't have to get too wrapped around the axle with it, but we do find it's best to be really clear. We want everybody on the team and everybody who the team depends on to look at the mission and say, yes, that's the mission of this team, and those are the measures of success. So once we've got the vision and mission taken care of, and again, this can just be an open conversation. We facilitate these processes in a variety of different ways. We want to move on to the membership. Now again, membership might be something that the team above is going to have a perspective on. They're going to say, look, you're a team, this is your group. But given the mission, we might have missed something. The senior leadership team or the leadership team might have missed certain key roles, certain key perspectives, certain key skill sets to have on the team. And so we want to make sure that they are all represented and that they're called out. So again, we want the team to be like, okay, given our mission, who should be on the team, right? And then what roles should they play? What kind of skills do we need? What perspectives do we need present? What individual roles do we need to play? Somebody might need to be a facilitator. Somebody might need to be in charge of communicating to the team, to the senior leadership team. Somebody might need to be in charge of making sure that meetings get scheduled and notes get taken, those kinds of more sort of procedural and secretarial tasks. We might want to call those out really specifically. So the question for the team is, when we go through the process, is given our vision, given our mission, do we have the right people in the room? Do we have enough people? Do we have the right skills and perspectives represented? And do we have the right roles called out? So that's one set of conversations. We can even go so far as to create role descriptions, roles, the role name, specific accountabilities. We can go pretty deep into this process. This membership process actually can take quite a bit of time, depending on how detailed you want to get about it. It could also take half an hour if you just want to, get going real quickly and then continuously improve over time. The next thing we want to discuss is the cultural intent, right? And we discussed in the previous video that a culture, a good culture, a productive culture, is one where people can meaningfully disagree, where people treat each other with a degree of respect, where people feel psychologically safe, so they bring forth their contrarian ideas, but they also trust each other so they can disagree but still commit to a path forward. We need to have all of these things present. And the reason we call this cultural intent is because culture is it's a hard thing to really work on, but it is helpful to have a good, clear conversation. Okay, so given our mission, given my character, right, given the kind of person I am, what kind of team do I want to work on? What kind of team, how do I want us to talk to each other? What kind of behavioral norms do I want to have on the team? And again, you can get very, very detailed and you can articulate culture in a variety of ways, or you could just have a general conversation and say, I want it to feel like this and I want it to feel like that. And yeah, I see what you mean. But you might ask another question of how would we know that we had this kind of culture? What sort of behaviors and practices and habits would be present? What would not be present? What would we not be doing? And having a robust and sort of spacious conversation around culture can be really important. And then finally, we want to talk about working agreements. Now, sometimes we break down working agreements into a variety of categories, right? We might have working agreements around communication. How do we communicate with each other? We might have working agreements around working hours. When are we working solo? When are we doing focused work? When are we meeting? If we're spanning time zones, what are the times where we're going to do group meetings that accommodate everybody? We might also have working agreements around information sharing, both internally inside the team, as well as externally with our partners outside of the team. We might talk about planning. We might talk about prioritization. We might talk about retrospecting our practices of continuous improvement, which we mentioned in a previous video, actually in the previous slide in this video as well, that can be so important. So what we find is that if we have, I want you just to think of these as buckets of conversations, inside of which you can have, you can almost make this a contract and highly detailed, or again, you could just sort of make a space to say, let's just sit in a circle and have a conversation about these things. But we find that when we're not clear about our mission, when we're not clear about our membership, when we're not clear about the kind of culture we're all committed to creating, and when we're not clear about our various working agreements, then we get into trouble as a team and as an organization. Now, again, this is the kind of work we do at the Alignment Company. We lead teams through this kind of process. As a matter of fact, we also will lead teams of teams through this process. So senior leadership team, leadership teams. In a previous video, I also talked about a model for participatory governance with cross-functional teams responsible for various aspects of the business. And so we might also charter each of those teams as well. As a matter of fact, we're doing that with a company right now. So if you want to talk to us about this work, we'd be more than happy to spend some time with you. I'll put links below as to how to contact us. And I'm also going to put a link below where you can go and download the PDF of this team charter canvas if you want to try it on your own. Anyway, best of luck. Happy teaming to you. And thanks for your time and attention. Have a wonderful day.